where it gets interesting. Harriet introduces herself to Mrs. Plummer. She apologizes for scaring her and freaking out the dogs. She says, but I have to try and fix what I messed up, which is you making history. Woo! Yay, Harriet! She's actually concerned about Mrs. Plummer and her problem of wanting to start this career. So she's not just thinking about herself. That is phenomenal. You go, girl. Harriet says that she knows how scary it is to try something new, but she quotes Old Golly, because she had told her that life is a struggle and a good spy never quits. Well, actually, she doesn't directly quote it. She changes it up a little bit. She says, life is a struggle and you should never quit whether you're a writer, a spy, or somebody who has a dream of making pants for dogs. And Harriet picks up one of the little doggy clothes, and she's no longer standing in front of the door. And so the doorman and Nadine barge into the room, and before they can stop Harriet, she throws the dog pants right into Nadine's face. Nadine slips on a little doggy ball, and she and the doorman both collapse onto the floor. Now, ordinarily, this is certainly something you would not want to do in real life. Ordinarily, this just happens in the movies. Like, on the surface, it seems pretty appalling that she would throw something like that into a grown-up's face, but she's that determined to make things right with Mrs. Plummer, even if it means attacking the authorities in the process, apparently. And Harriet continues her speech. She's still unsure about whether or not dogs should even be wearing clothes, but then again, she's not a dog. All Harriet knows is that she's sick and tired of seeing Mrs. Plummer keep herself bedridden all the time. She says, I'm tired of seeing you flopping around like a fish on this big dog bed. It's perfect that she calls it a dog bed, because apparently the dogs sleep in the bed with her all the time. And now Harriet's literally standing on the bed jumping on it. Probably because the other two grown-ups are on the floor, so she's running out places to stand without getting her foot grabbed, possibly. And then Harriet looks Mrs. Plummer right in the eye and says, quote, if you don't get off your butt, she used the B word again, get a hairdo that makes you feel like $1,000,000, and then go to the bank and get your loan and open your dog clothing store. Well, actually, it says dog pants store, but you know what I'm saying. I swear I will barge into your room like a maniac for the rest of your life. End quote. Jeez, Harriet, that is bold! Talking like that to a grown-up. I guess what was going through Harriet's head was, if I don't tell her this, who will? So it seems to me like Harriet genuinely cares about this lady, and that she's not just doing this to try to get permission to keep spying on her, I don't think. But I'm not gonna lie, though, this is actually kind of creepy. I mean, can you imagine an 11-year-old barging into your apartment, confronting you head-on like this about what you're doing with your life? How would you respond to that? Finally, Harriet straightens her glasses and quietly says, please? Then they look at each other for a minute, and Harriet gives her a little smile. Then Nadine gets ready to call the cops. She picks up the telephone, but Mrs. Plummer stops her and says, no, she's right. And by the way, it's an old rotary phone. They didn't have push-button phones yet in those days, in the 60s. Mrs. Plummer agrees that she's been in bed for too long, and now she's getting ready to step into her slippers. This almost reminds me of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when Grandpa Joe was trying to get out of bed. I'm talking about the 70s version, because that's the one where he kind of gets up very slowly and struggles a little bit. And the dogs are all watching her, and one of them gives a little bark. And Nadine looks very nervous. She's sweating, actually. And Mrs. Plummer is on her feet. She almost falls, though, but Harriet catches her balance. She says, thank you, Harriet M. Welsh. Then Harriet looks at her watch and says, you better get going. Mrs. Plummer says, why?